All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome, one and all. Today is May 16th, and we are going to enter into the semifinals of our 2025 Spring Open CAD vs. CAD Speed Modeling Tournament. And I am so excited about how this tournament has been going so far, and I'm very excited to see how the competition goes down today. With me, I've got none other than Connor, my co-commentator. How are you, Connor?
I'm doing good. I'm very excited for today. I was here last time, and it was very fun to watch. And I think that, it's semifinals, so it's got to be even funner. You know?
Yeah, and of course, the weather is really going crazy outside, huh?
Yeah, it's flooding. I don't know if you saw the Outback yet, but it's kind of crazy.
Good, it's flooding. Excellent. Well, we're hoping that we don't lose power during this live stream. If we do, we will, of course, come up with some kind of a contingency plan to reschedule. But for now, we're going to proceed as though everything is going to continue to work out wonderfully. And so on that note, let's just start out here by saying hello to some of our friends here in the chat. We want to say, of course, hello to Ricardo, Gene, hello to Atse. Ricardo, Gene, and Atse are going to be competing today in this semifinal, but not against one another. We want to say hello to Jern. We want to say hello to Julian. Says, let's go, contestants. Yes, indeed. And we got Dom Linder and Mehtab here, who are also competing in this semifinals. Very excited to see how these guys do. FPV Kev is here. Hello, FPV Kev. How are you? Rambro's Workshop. Jern says, been listening to Pisco Sour today, getting hyped for CAD. That's how you got to do it. Jim Yu is here. Scott Makes a Thing is here joining us in the chat. Of course, we saw him last week using Rhino. And we've got John G here in the chat. Victor K, the world champion of 3D CAD Speed Modeling 2023, and Rambro's Workshop, the world champion from 2024. Yup, that's me, is here in the chat. Howdy. Vicky Chong is here, says hi, everyone. Aaron C is here. Welcome, my friend. Mesa Makes is here. It's a good day to do some CAD. Yes, indeed. And Julian says, Storm came through here yesterday in the Midwest. Wow, I hope you're okay and hope everybody there is okay. And Jern says, love to see the runners tackling harder models. You can really see the CAD wizardry on display. Yeah, we are going to be bumping things up here in this level. We're going to be bumping things up to about a tier 5 level. Rambro's Workshop says, be safe, guys. Lewis Mania here in the chat. Hello, my friend, my LinkedIn friend. Great to see you in here. And Abdullah Rahman is here, says good luck to Mehtab. And Jim Yu coming in with NOK 100 as a super chat to get this train started. Yeah, of course, I want to say thank you so much to Jim Yu, and just want to say thank you to everyone who does participate in the super chat. The super chat is open. It's a great way to contribute to the community, kind of help us keep the doors open and keep the barriers down so that we don't get flooded. And we definitely want to make sure that we keep the power on. In this case, it's not going to necessarily be from donations, but maybe more so from the weather breaking in our favor. But we do have a join option. You might see back behind us here, guys. We got this stack of seltzer waters. I want to say thank you to all the people who joined the channel at the Buy Me a Seltzer Water level. I am going to drink this seltzer water today. This is the seltzer water challenge today. I'm going to try to see if I can drink this entire seltzer water during the live stream.
Good luck.
Thank you. And big challenge today, big challenge. And yeah, so with that, we are going to get started. We are going to get into it. We are here in the semifinals now. So we saw last week that it was Ricardo Gene going up against Abdullah, and it was Ricardo Gene who was able to come out ahead with his Italian mastery of SolidWorks. And then we saw Ate going up against Scott Makes a Thing, and that was SolidWorks versus Rhino, and it was Ate who came out ahead. So today we're going to see the semifinal matches, and we're also going to see an increase in the complexity of the models. So we're going to see some slightly more complicated, slightly more challenging models. There's one sheet metal model in the mix, so be on the lookout for that sheet metal. What do you think about sheet metal? You like sheet metal more or solids more?
I don't have the most experience with sheet metal.
Okay.
More experience with solids, like just normal solids, but I think they're fun to watch, mostly because I don't know what I'm doing with them.
I think a lot of people probably share that sentiment. I think there's a lot of people out there who maybe aren't as familiar with the sheet metal tools that are available in the different CAD systems. And, of course, that's a big part of what you can learn here at Too Tall Toby. You can learn about some of these different areas of the software that maybe you don't know as much about.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see how these runners do, and we'll see what happens. We see in the chat, Mehtab says Dom and Atse should get One sheet metal. Yeah, because these guys are like our manufacturing specialists here in the competition. So that would be pretty cool to see. And it would feel like it's, fitting, of course. And so with that, let's get into it here. Of course, I want to introduce Connor. He's an Onshape user. He's a musician. He's an amazing roommate. And he's an experienced co-commentator.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. I love coming on here and just seeing these people who are... I'm at that level with CAD where like I kind of know that I don't know much. So seeing people on here that do know what they're doing is a real treat to watch. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, it's so interesting to see how these guys come up with their decision tree, how they what's the word I'm looking for? Navigate through that decision tree and how they come up ultimately with the final answer and how close, those answers are. Some of these answers are 2 places decimal, 3 places decimal in, in grams. So it's definitely tight tolerance on these models and very impressive to see not only how fast they are, but the fact that they're fast and accurate.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it's all about. And the nice thing is, right, they say that you can pick 2, right? It can be fast, it can be cheap, or it can be good. Well, hopefully we're setting up these users to learn how to be fast and how to be good. And what that means is that they're not going to be cheap, right? So hopefully they're going to end up earning a better salary, earning more money per hour on their jobs. So yeah, I love the fact that in this competition, we're helping people learn how to not only be fast, but also be very accurate in this modeling process.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, let's get into it here. Ivan the Reasonable says, stay high and dry, Toby. You're not in the basement, are you? Anyhow, moving on. Let's talk about this competition here. Don't forget to hit the like button. The easiest way to support the channel is to hit the like button. We've hit the magic number, 42 people watching right now. So make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share and reshare. And hey, head on over to tootalltoby.com. You can sign up for a free account, and that'll set you up for another way to help support the channel and help support what we're doing here.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this tournament started out with 8 runners from around the world, 7 different countries being represented here. And in our first match, we saw Mehtab versus Mr. Alex, and it was Mehtab who took the win and moved into the semifinals. In our second match, we saw Dom versus Gray, and it was Dom who took it down, moving into our semifinals. And then last week, we saw Ricardo versus Abdullah, and it was Ricardo who won using SolidWorks, moving into today's semifinals. And finally, we saw Atse from Macedonia going up against Scott Makes a Thing, and it was Atse who won that challenge, moving on to our semifinals. So this is where things stand right now, and whoever wins today is going to move on to the finals next week for the championship match next week.
Yes.
I'm very excited to see that.
I want to tell Atse that is 100% correct. It's like I'm wearing a towel, and it's so soft as well. 100% recommend.
Nice. The TTT hoodie is super absorbent, and they are safe. Yes.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. Always good to have a TTT hoodie on you at all times, and we will open the merch store soon so that we can actually use this promotion to generate some sales.
But keep it in mind. When they come out, you gotta be one of the first people to get them because they're gonna sell out immediately.
Exactly.
So
keep
your eye
limited
open.
Limited run. Yeah. So guys, is there a prize for this tournament? Absolutely. First place is going to take down a $100 prize. Second place is going to take down a $50 prize. And of course, this is the Spring Open. We're just getting warmed up for some other tournaments that are going to take place throughout the year this year. So good luck to our first place and second place finisher. We're going to find out whoever gets through today is going to at least qualify for a prize.
Yeah.
So very excited to see. I was talking to some of the runners before the live stream, and they were saying, look, let's be honest. None of us are doing this for the prizes. We're doing it for the glory. We're doing it to get listed at tootalltoby.com/tournament to have that great big picture, winner, that great big picture winner of the tournament. It's almost like a wall of fame.
Yeah. They're doing it for the love of the game.
Doing it for the love of the game. Yeah. So tootalltoby.com/tournament if you guys want to see that. Bragging rights, as Ate said.
Yes.
Yeah, bragging rights is what it's all about. But check it out, tootalltoby.com/tournament. And of course, tootalltoby.com is one of the sponsors of this tournament. My Solidbox is one of the sponsors of this tournament. And then Blue Byte, a new sponsor of the tournament, who's just sponsoring this tournament, the first time sponsoring, but has been an awesome supporter for a long time. If you're not familiar with Byte Systems, what Byte Systems does is they specialize in helping to create smarter tools for better engineering. And specifically, they customize solutions to optimize CAD, PDM, PLM, and product data workflows. And what this means is, especially if you're a SolidWorks user, the team over at Byte Systems can help you to automate any of the repeat processes you do by custom coding API scripts and macros to make your life easier. So let's say, for example, every time somebody on your team makes a drawing, they go through each sheet of the drawing and they output an individual PDF. Well, the team at Byte could help to customize that. They could not only help you to output each sheet as a PDF, but they could also customize that to go into some type of a data control workflow. They could customize it so that data control gets distributed to all the key players on the team. You know, these are the types of workflows that we often have to do manually over and over again. And before you know it, that time adds up and you're spending hours each week or maybe even hundreds of hours each year just doing repeat tasks that can be automated. So if you or your company ever runs into that type of a scenario, be sure to check out the team over at Byte Systems. They will absolutely take care of you. BlueByteSystems.com is the website, and their team is extremely nice as well, I will say. Nice. Very nice, very friendly, very easy to work with. And they're an industry leader in SOLIDWORKS and PDM customization. They offer ERP and PLM integration and data migration, and they offer API training videos. So if you want to learn how to customize the API for SOLIDWORKS, you can check it out. And we even have what I believe is a typo in the code, but we just decided to go with it. I think it was probably supposed to be Too Tall Toby, but if you want to get 30% off that API training video, the correct promo code is Too Tall Boy. Again, Too Tall Boy. Too Tall Boy is the promo code for those API videos.
Wow.
And you know, that's what I am. Too Tall Boy.
Too Tall Boy.
Yeah. So check it out. Promo code is there in the chat. Ivan in the chat is also co-signing here. He says, I know the Byte guy, knows I'm on. He's amazing. Yeah. Very knowledgeable, very helpful, and a true engineer, as is shown by his prowess in the discipline of spelling.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors. And let's get into it. Don't forget, visit us over at tootalltoby.com. Sign up for an account. Sign up for Practice Models Premium. It's a great way to support the tournaments and to support the channel. And the other way you can support the channel is hit the like button, share and reshare, and sign up for a free account. Now, I do want to say one more thing here before we get started. Guys, this tournament seemed like it was very dominant by one single CAD system. We were fortunate to have Scott Makes a Thing with us last week, who was using Rhino, but it seemed like it was really dominant by just one single CAD system. And although it's fun to watch users from all over the world, what I think is really a lot of fun is seeing users from all different CAD systems. So we have decided that this summer we are going to host a second tournament, and that tournament is going to be called the 2025 Variety Tournament. And it's going to run from July 18th to August 8th. So it's going to be another 4-week tournament. It's going to be another 8-person tournament. But there is going to be one rule that's going to change things on how this tournament is run. And that rule is going to be that we are only going to allow 2 of the same CAD system. 2 of the same CAD system. So once we get the fastest 2 times from one CAD system, we're going to say that's it. You know, we're not accepting anymore. I mean, of course, we'll do the leaderboard. We'll do the standard leaderboard. So maybe we'll have like 30 entries from Onshape. Well, we're just going to take number 1 and number 2 from Onshape, and then we're going to continue down the list. Maybe the next entry is from RhinoCAD. So then that'll be, you know, that entry will be in the tournament. The next one's from Alibre. That one will be in the tournament. And then maybe the next one's from SolidWorks. That'll be in the tournament. And then the next one, maybe the next one's from Onshape again. Well, we already got 2 for Onshape. And then the next one's from Alibre. So now we've got 2 from Alibre. Now we can't go on anymore from there. So we're gonna do a CAD variety tournament. Victor K in the chat says you should just do 1 per CAD system, make it mega variety. Yeah, we definitely could do that. But what we're gonna do here is we're gonna try to get some variety in there, and we're gonna try to definitely have more variety, more different CAD systems, and hopefully this will help kind of mix things up a little bit. And you know, we're always trying to mix things up a little bit here as we kind of make our way to the World Championship of 3D CAD, which is gonna happen later this year as well.
Yeah. I think it's going to be super interesting, as well as like, I think this could open up a opportunity for people who, let's say that they are good at SolidWorks, but they aren't like the #1 top level. It could help them like, okay, well, if I want to participate in this tournament still, I could try to specialize in a different CAD system.
Yeah.
So we'll see, like if someone is like wants to be in the tournament, we'll see like new players
Yeah.
like these different new CAD systems. So
Oh, I like
I'm excited
that.
for this.
Yeah, I like that. This is going to be good. And I see Mason Makes in the chat is like, On-Shape is front and center. Yeah, exactly. We're going to see. And I see also that Jern said this is going to be great for a Libre and FreeCAD too. Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
Scott makes a thing. Rhino, part 2. We want to see you again.
And Vicky is saying, can you move your video to the right so it fits in the preview? So, yeah, I thought about that, but what ends up happening is then Connor ends up showing up twice here. So we definitely could do that. I guess we could center it, right? Is that what you want? We'll center this up here so it looks a little bit better. There we go. Always appreciate the production notes from our team here, helping us make sure. Yeah, it does look cool. It looks like we're in 2 different rooms, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. All right, there we go. Oh, yeah, much better. Okay, cool. Thank you, Vicky. Cool. Appreciate that. All right, guys, here we go. Let's get into it here. How does the tournament work? We're going to have 2 runners here. We're going to have Ivan the Reasonable and Aaron C here that are going to be running. These are just our sample runners. We're going to show them a 2D print, ask them to turn it into a 3D model, calculate the mass, and enter that mass directly in the YouTube chat. Otse says, Connor is twice as awesome.
Thank you.
Nice. The rules for this tournament are that it's a best-of-3 matchup, so you got to earn 2 points in order to move on to the finals. You're allowed to answer wrong 1 time, at which point we will tell you that you got it wrong, and you can try again. But after you answer wrong twice, that's it. You cannot get the answer. You cannot earn the point for that battle. Each of our matches typically have 2 or 3 battles between these amazing wizards from around the world. And of course, if you're out there in the chat, if you're watching in the chat, when I show the 2D print, you can take a screen capture. You can try to model it up in your CAD system. But what we do ask is that you do not help the runners. Don't post the mass. If you figure it out and you get the mass, don't post it. And don't help them if they get stuck. What could they do if they figure it out? If they want to flex and let the whole world know that they solved it before these runners, what do you think they could do, Connor?
They could be like, got it.
Got it. Yeah, exactly. You could say, I got it. You can say, got it. If you're a member of the channel, if you sign up for the Buy Me a Seltzer or Buy Me a Coffee, then you can use the I got it special icon there. So got it. Just let people know. You can let people know that you got it. And Will says, God luck for all.
God luck for all.
Yeah, indeed. All right, guys, let's get into it here. We are in the semifinals. We got Mehtab, who went up against Mr. Alex from Latvia, defeated him. We got Ricardo Jean, who went up against Abdullah from Bangladesh. Mehtab and Abdullah kind of know each other, so this could be a little bit of a revenge battle here from Mehtab, getting a little bit of revenge for his friend, but wow, he really came up against one of the best in the business in Ricardo Jean. So this is going to be a really fun match. And what we like to do here is we like to get things started by just doing a quick practice round, just to make sure that we've got all our systems in place here at Too Tall Toby and make sure that all of the runners are comfortable and have everything up and running and the way they're expecting it to run. So what we're going to do now is we are going to do that kind of practice battle here between our 2 runners. So what we're going to see is on the right, we're going to have Ricardo, and on the left, we're going to have Mehtab. And so let's get this up and running here, and we're going to make sure that everything is looking good for this practice battle. And here we go. This practice battle between our 2 runners begins in... Wait, hold on 1 second. Let me just make sure before I don't want to accidentally show anything. Okay, here we go. Making sure we got it all right. Okay, this practice battle begins in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, sorry. Go. It's practice. So what's going to happen now is our runners are going to grab a screen capture of this 2D drawing, and they're going to begin modeling this up in their CAD system of choice. And in this case, both of our runners are using the same CAD system. Both of our runners are using SolidWorks. And so let's see if we can just make this window here a little bit bigger. See if we can make Mehtab's screen here just a little bit bigger. Oh, a little bit too big there. There we go. That looks pretty good. But once I zoom in, I get a little jammed up. Okay, there we go. Oh, perfect. So we got Mehtab here on the left, modeling this up by creating a rectangle and extruding it. We got Ricardo Jean here on the right, modeling this up by turning it into a rectangle and extruding it. I think both of those methods are quite sound, quite valid methods. Look at that, putting a decal on there for some bonus. We like that as well. Yeah, that's what's up. So we can see here that both of our runners were able to get that thing, both of our runners were able to get that thing nice and modeled up. No problem from either of our runners. Pretty straightforward geometry, and that's why we're doing our practice. We got Mehtab on the left, we got Ricardo on the right, and we've got Let's see here. Mehtab coming in, or Ricardo coming in with the answer, 42.12 grams. Mehtab coming in with the answer, 42.12 grams. So they both came in up with the answer. It was Ricardo who came up with the answer first. So if this was a real battle, we would give Ricardo a point there, and then we would move on to the next battle. So that's our practice, just kind of making sure that all systems are working correctly, and it looks like they are. So I'm ready to see some action. That was really fast. I honestly didn't even get to see any of the modeling. I was like just kind of setting up the systems there. So now we need to determine which drawing we're going to show, because of course, if I were to decide on the order of the drawings, I could maybe stack this. I could give all the, manufacturing type drawings to Dom, give him a leg up. I could give all the sheet metal drawings to Otse, give him a leg up. So it's not up to me to decide which drawings are going to be dished out here to these runners. It's really up to the runners. And so to determine this, what we do is we turn to the Wheel of Fate. And you can see here in the chat that people are already guessing. Rambro's Workshop, 13. Will, 17. Nufuzar coming up with 14. Rockcrawler, 15. Vicky Chong, 16. Mason makes 11. Jim Yu, 17. Scott makes a thing. This one goes to 11.
Jim, I gotta agree with Jim here, 17. He's got a track record of knowing what's right. I believe he does.
Yeah.
So 17. Yes, I'm locking in there.
Everybody's getting in on that 17. Julian coming in with 12 and Sean coming in with 13. Now, we do shuffle this thing up a little bit. So before we actually spin it, we are going to shuffle it up a little. So that might change people's minds, but it doesn't matter if it does. It's too late because we are spinning this thing.
All right, 17.
So shout out to Solidbox for sponsoring the Wheel of Fate for this tournament. And guys, the very first challenge that you are going to experience here is going to be challenge number 14. Challenge number 14 here. And this one is going to be between Mehtab and Ricardo. And wow, this is a perfect model for these guys. I know these guys' style, and we are in for a treat here. So Connor, I'm going to get that model all set up. I'm going to get that drawing all set up, that challenge. Maybe you could share with the audience some details about these runners.
I sure can do that. All right, so we have Mehtab, and he is a user of SolidWorks, and he is currently a sophomore industrial engineering student, and that is a lot. Good luck with that. I heard that is not the easiest thing ever. And then during his SolidWorks course, he was facing a problem modeling something, and then searched for SolidWorks tutorials, and then came across Too Tall Toby, and learned some of the power moves and the practices, and now he's here. So I just want to say thank you for staying here. We love you. And we love that people are participating.
Yeah, it's been great having Mehtab in the community.
And his SolidWorks rarely crashes. That is truly exceptional.
Yes.
I don't know if maybe you have like a blessing or something. Because that's not the most common.
Not many people can say that.
And he doesn't like sketch patterns at all. Interesting. And he has a win rate in the national offline CAD design. Wait, sorry, I can't read that fully.
Okay. That's all right. Whoops. All right. That's all right.
But
there we go.
His win rate in the national offline CAD design competitions is 100% until now. Congratulations.
Wow. Very cool.
That's cool. And then for Ricardo, he loves his wife.
Nice.
W.
Yep.
And then has been using SolidWorks since the 2006 version. That is crazy. He has been using SolidWorks my entire life.
Yeah.
And then also his brother and his father are designers in SolidWorks, with his father having 20 plus years as a SolidWorks user with experience. He still uses it. And Ricardo says that he will beat him only if he stops. So.
Yeah. Wow. That is awesome, man. So it runs in the family.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we might know a little something about that. Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, that is an awesome intro. Great to learn a little bit about our runners, but I think the time for talk is over. Yeah. Are you ready for this battle?
I'm super ready for this battle.
I am super ready for this battle. And here we go, guys. This CAD vs. CAD battle, the first battle in our semifinals of our 2025 Spring Open Tournament between Mehtab from Bangladesh and Ricardo Jean from Italy. SolidWorks vs. SolidWorks begins in 3, 2, 1, go! What is the mass of this part in xxx.x grams? The tolerance is plus or minus 0.2 grams. The material is 1060 aluminum. This part is an upper rod mount, some type of a manufactured machined part. And here we go. Both of our runners have grabbed the screen capture. Both of our runners are jumping into their CAD system. And we are in for a treat with this battle. I can't wait to see how these guys attack this model. So it looks like Ricardo Jean on the right decided to create 2 circles and extrude them. Mehtab on the left decided to keep things solid and just extrude the 1 circle. And we'll see how that plays out. That's the technique that I like to use. I like to keep it solid at first, but we'll see what ends up panning out here. Ricardo Jean on the right, jumping right into that upper shape. We've got this kind of tombstone shape up top. It's got a hole running through it. And Ricardo Jean looks like he's going to be converting some geometry from the existing part, using that converted geometry and using the contour selection to get that geometry. Unfortunately, it looks like he's got kind of a little ledge, overhanging ledge there. So how's he going to handle that? Looks like he's going to go back and maybe adjust his sketch there to help with that overhang from that tombstone shape. I'm sure that there's some people in the audience that could maybe come up with a different solution for that. We see here in the audience, we've got Aaron C. He says he's got a dingus. Yeah, he's got that extra little geometry hanging out there that he's going to need to work with. And we see on the left, meanwhile, that Mehtab is going through. It looks like maybe he was struggling a little bit getting that plane in place. This is something that we don't normally see from Mehtab. Normally, he's able just to fly through the software, but it looks like maybe he's just getting a little hung up with that plane creation, plane location. But here we go. It looks like he's getting back into his groove.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, it's always interesting to see Ricardo because he just, like, flies through the beginning part. Like, just sketch, and then everything extrudes at once. So it is very neat seeing that. It's also neat seeing him, like, this is a more complicated model than last time. So seeing more advanced techniques, and I don't know, I'm having a good time.
Yeah, it's not easy, to look at a 2D print and to be able to decide right away, like, this is going to be what my game plan is. But this is what we do all the time as engineers. We're always looking at napkin sketches, ideas, 2 components that need to be coupled together. Whatever the challenge is, we always have to imagine what the part's going to look like and then start thinking about how we're going to model up that part. And it's a really common challenge that we see on message boards too. How would you model this part? How would you model this part? How would you model this part? So it's so great to see all the members of the Too Tall Toby community honing that skill. And wow, Mehtab really found his groove.
Yeah.
And look at this. He's already got that lower platform extruded. He's got the bridge going to that lower platform. He's got the fillets going down to that lower platform. And now he is moving on to that upper kind of tombstone shape. Pretty interesting here that both Mehtab and Ricardo Jean chose to create that shape using a slot versus using the line arc line technique. I think that really speaks to the power of the slot command, and it kind of serves as a good reminder that just because the tool is designed to be a slot doesn't mean you can't use it in other spots, like in this type of geometry that would typically be called a lug in mechanical engineering. So Mehtab going through really quickly, creating that slot that's separating those 2 halves so that they can be clamped together. It looks like Ricardo Jean already has the hole going through that upper tombstone shape. So we'll see if that ends up, saving him, not having to do that extra feature. We see that Mehtab on the left is now going through. Looks like he's going to be using the rib command to try to create that geometry, that brace geometry that's supporting at the bottom. Let's see what ends up happening here. Trying to create the rib command, going in, putting in the width, getting an error. Mehtab on the left getting an error from that rib command. Meanwhile, we see Ricardo on the right now has those 4 fillets on the base, on the feet of that, or the foot of that part. Those 4 fillets came together pretty quickly, and now it's just a matter of him figuring out how to locate these holes. It looks like he's going to draw up one of them, locate it from the front of the part, and then probably is going to end up using a mirror command here. Look at that doubled dimension. We like that doubled dimension across the center line. And then going for it here with a mirror command and turning that into a cut extrude. And we see Ricardo Jean kind of coming down the home stretch here.
Yeah.
Let's see how he creates these final features. You'll notice in that isometric view in the center of the screen that this thing has a brace both in the front and in the back. There's a slight angled brace in the back. So we see that Mehtab on the left is finishing out that brace that's on the front, but then he's going to have to move on to that brace in the back. We see that Ricardo was able to get that brace in the front using a rib, was able to get it taken care of pretty quickly. Now he just noticed those fillets going down to that lower shape. And now we see him once again returning to that side plane and making his run at that angled brace. So it looks like he's going to go in here with a sketch, give it that angle, 20 degrees. Gonna attempt to do this with a rib. Let's see if it works. Looks like maybe Ricardo Jean got a little hung up there. Not sure what's going on. If it looks like he got an error as well. So first we saw Mehtab get an error with the rib, and now we see Ricardo Jean getting an error with the rib. Different rib, but the same model, and probably a similar error with that. So definitely something that I think a lot of us out there who have done CAD for a while can sympathize. You know, we've all run into this spot where we're like, why won't this rib just work? And we just get so mad about it. And it's good to see that looks like Ricardo Jean was able to figure it out. Maybe he just did it with an extrusion there. And I think we're going to end up seeing an answer here coming into the chat. I saw that, and there it is. Ricardo Jean coming into the chat with an answer, 807.3 grams. And that is correct. Wow. Yeah, let's go. Congratulations to Ricardo Jean. Ran into a couple of hiccups with that model, but was able to get through it and in a very fast time. And wow, what a start to this semifinal battles. Man, what a good part for these guys.
Yeah, it was super close too. I think it's super interesting, a lot of these parts, how like this one specifically, for example, they didn't really start off, I mean, they started similarly, but the order in which they did the features was different. But each individual feature, they kind of did all the steps in the same order, which I think that's always neat to see.
Yeah, I think that's such a great observation, and I completely agree with you. I was kind of thinking the same thing on that, was that they didn't really necessarily start at the same spot, but each feature they made, they kind of made it the same way.
Yeah.
And I was noticing that same thing, and that was really cool to watch.
Yeah.
Wow. Great battle, guys. Great battle from both of our runners. Let's put a GG in the chat for our winner, but of course a GG for both of our runners. That was awesome. That was awesome. And while you guys are doing that, I'm gonna bring up our friend, the Wheel of Fate, and we're gonna find out what's going on next. But wow, GG to both of our runners, and really well done to Ricardo Jean. That was not an easy part. We saw him get hung up there a little bit on that rib. We saw him get even hung up in the beginning. He had that dingus right in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very first battle. I think both of our runners probably needed to kind of work out some cobwebs, dust off any of the rust. But I think now we're going to really see the full potential of these runners. I'm very excited to see what happens next.
I as well.
So what do you think? What numbers are going to be, Connor?
Oh, I think 17 again. I'm staying on 17.
We're going for it. All right, well, let's give this thing a spin and find out what happens. So we got here Mesa makes 11, Rambros Workshop 13, Amit coming in with 17. We got Navuzar coming in with 11, Vicky Chong 13, Will 17. We got Scott makes a thing 11, Rockcrawler 13, Jim Yu 15, Abdullah 13, Nafuzar changing to 16, Ate 15, Julian Harris coming in with 17. And guys, it ended up being 16. So congratulations to Nafuzar.
Congratulations.
Boom. Did it. Well done. Well done. I am getting that 15 later for me. Yeah, probably. All right, guys. Well, congratulations to our runners. And our next challenge is another good one here. Drawing number 16. And maybe before we get into that challenge, oh, and by the way, Connor, I just noticed my phone gave me an emergency weather alert. Ooh. So let's be on the lookout for that emergency weather. Oh, guys, put a 1 in the chat if you want to fend off this emergency weather so that we can keep this live stream going. Yeah. We definitely want to keep this live stream going. So let's get those 1s in the chat. Hit the like button. This might be your last chance to donate using Super Chat. So maybe you want to do it now rather than later, because we don't know how long this stream is going to go. So Super Chat for our emergency fund here for the weather. And yes, may the shield hold. Exactly. All right, guys. Well, let's get into it here. We're going to learn just a little bit more about these runners. And Connor, maybe you can take a look at a couple of more fun facts here about these runners. Whoops, I think I maybe, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, of course. So we have, once again, Mehtab. Actually, I think that we went through all these. I think the only new facts are Ricardo.
Yeah.
So, Mehtab, once again, is a sophomore industrial engineering student, and he's from Bangladesh, and I wish him the best of luck. And moving on to Ricardo, he was born in Brazil and lives in Italy, and he's lived there for 7 years. So I hope it's nice there. I bet you it's not flooding, which is probably nice.
Nice.
But I don't know the weather in Italy, so don't take my word on that. And then he drew the historical Ferrari F40, the Vespa 150 BBA 1T on his YouTube channel. So go check out Ricardo Jean's YouTube channel. He designs cars, or not designs, but draws them up. And I think that car is really cool. I think that in a 3D CAD a setting, like being able to rotate it around and see all the little parts of the car that you don't usually see. That's always super cool.
So cool.
Yeah. And he is a YouTube SOLIDWORKS teacher at a beginner level with 79 followers. So go subscribe.
Yeah.
Go see his cars that he designed and just do it. It's going to be cool. And Ricardo's cool as well. He is, as you guys can see, is a wizard, so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's make sure that we visit Ricardo's YouTube channel. And shout out to Aaron C as well. Aaron C, thank you so much for the super chat.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated. Thank you so much, guys. Always very much appreciated. And he says, preemptive disaster relief fund for the studio.
Fingers crossed we don't need to use it for that.
Thank you. Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. Aaron C's been with the channel long enough. He probably remembers when we got flooded and we actually had flooding down here, and I almost lost the original prints from the Too Tall Toby standing up animation, the YouTube channel bumper before. But we did manage to save them and get them all dried out. So
yeah,
happy ending.
Happy ending.
All right, guys, enough talk. Ricardo Jean says, I'm getting tired, guys. I think he's saying we're talking too much.
I believe that is what he's saying.
It's Friday night. Let's go. Hang in there, Ricardo. Here we go. This next CAD battle, Mehtab versus Ricardo Jean. Mehtab has to win this to stay alive. Otherwise, Ricardo Jean is going to the finals. This next CAD battle between Mehtab from Bangladesh and Ricardo Jean from Italy begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in 0.xxx pounds? Tolerance is plus or minus 0.001 pounds, and this part is in 1060 aluminum, inches, and fractions. Good luck, guys. Both of our runners have grabbed a screen capture. Both of our runners are jumping into the challenge and attempting to model this challenge up, and I cannot wait to see what they come up with for a solution here.
Oh, yeah.
So good luck, and let's just get this all squared up. There we go. Wow, this is a cool model. This is a wall torch mount, and that would be a mount that you would use to hang a torch upon if you lived in the old days and had access to aluminum manufacturing.
No. You'd probably be treated like an actual wizard if you had this back when, torches were commonly used.
So we see Mehtab and Ricardo Jean both jumping into the model, both starting on the top plane, sketching a circle and extruding it up. Both starting with that kind of lower sleeve there for the torch. I think that makes a lot of sense there. Now we see both of them creating the second sketch here, kind of going up the side of the part. Creating this geometry, this kind of line scenario. Both of them creating the dimensions here. A little bit of basic arithmetic there in the dimension input. I like that from Mehtab on the left. And we see Ricardo Jean on the right here doing an offset for that 1/4 inch wall thickness for the geometry that's kind of running up through the side there. Instead of making that in the sketch, we see that Mehtab opted to do that with a thin feature extrusion. So I like that as well, getting in there and just inputting the wall thickness right as you're creating the geometry. Both of these guys are from not America, and so both of them are probably not used to working in inches and not used to working in fractions. This probably would have been a good part for Dom and Atse, but the Wheel of Fate can be cruel. So we see here that both of our runners are kind of working through, trying to get used to how the fractions are working. And now we see a little bit of deviation. Now we see that Mehtab has decided to create that upper region that fans out with the 2 holes in it, where Ricardo has decided to continue working on that kind of upper and lower webbing.
Yeah.
So we'll see which strategy pays off here.
I'm going to leave you for like 1 minute.
Yep, you go. So we see here both of our runners, as always, trying to get these sketches all black. When your sketches are all black, that means they are fully defined. And when your sketches are fully defined, that means that they are predictable. And that is what we want from our sketches. We always want our sketches to be predictable. We want them to be fully defined as we are going through and modeling in 3D CAD, regardless of what CAD system you're using. So now we see Ricardo Jean continuing with his strategy of creating this kind of webbing, looking in from the side and creating it with an offset directly in the sketch. I like that strategy. I think it's valid. And look at that. He's already got that turned into an extrusion. We like that as well. Actually, I may have misspoke there. He actually did do that one as a thin feature. I think I was just looking at the preview. And now that I look at it, it looks like both of them were with the I think I was looking at his preview and I thought that his preview was for sketching. I thought he was doing the offset there, but it looks like he was doing that as thin feature. Little misstep there by your friendly commentator. Interesting that Ricardo looks like he's doing the entire model here, both left side and right side, where Mehtab has opted just to do one side, and I assume he's going to be mirroring that towards the end. So once again, we've got these different strategies. We'll see which one ends up paying off. It's easy to look and say, looks like this user is going faster and better shape, or this user's faster and better shape, but you really don't know until these features start converging and these models start converging. Victor K recognizing that Ricardo makes use of a lot of different views, shaded and wireframe. So that's a great point. He seems like he's very comfortable. He's probably got some keyboard shortcuts set up to kind of quickly change between those view styles. And that's something that's going to definitely help you as a designer, as a CAD designer, as an engineer, being able to kind of quickly reference those underlying features. And guys, if you're enjoying this CAD battle, be sure to hit the like button on this video. We're now up to 80 people watching. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And Jern in the chat, giving the edge to somebody already here. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna count those chickens until they hatch, because this could still easily go either direction. If either one of our users gets hung up or just all of a sudden starts pulling ahead, this could definitely go either direction. So very interesting to see the strategy from both of our runners here. And we see Mehtab getting in there and adding in some dimensions to get this thing fully constrained from that side view. We see, looks like Ricardo Jean there on the right ran into an issue where he input a radius, a diameter instead of a radius, but then quickly was able to recover just by typing ×2. So if you learn about your CAD system, if you learn that your CAD system can take advantage of basic arithmetic, then if you ever find yourself in that spot, you can really easily recover. He typed in diameter instead of radius, and boom, just did a ×2 and was all set, was all good to go there. And so we see here in the chat, we've got an answer from Ricardo Jean, 0.966 pounds. And guys, we have a finalist in this tournament. Congratulations to Ricardo Jean. He did it. That is correct. And Ricardo Jean, 0.966 is correct for the win, for the victory, Cat. And Ricardo Jean is going to be moving on now into the finals. Well done, my friend. Congratulations. A couple of complicated parts, lots of different features that needed to be assembled together there in your feature tree, and you absolutely crushed it. Absolute mastery there, watching both of you. Of course, you can see Mehtab was right behind him. Jern says Mehtab was a worthy competitor, very tough. GG to Mehtab. Yes, GG to our winner, and really GG to both of our runners. That was so fun to watch, and awesome job, guys. Very well done. Congratulations on those not very easy parts. And GG to Ricardo Jean. Man, he really took it down there. That was a cool part. Cool part, not easy. You got some thin features, you got some revolves, you got some pockets. It's in inches, it's in fractions. Definitely took those guys out of their comfort zone, and they did an awesome job getting through it. So GG to Ricardo, GG to Mehtab. Thank you so much for being a part of this tournament. And guys, Mehtab is going to be back next week. We're going to have a competition for 3rd and 4th place, so we are going to see Mehtab coming back next week.
Nice.
And I'm going to take a sip of this seltzer water. And if you're out there and you want to join the channel at the Buy Me a Seltzer Water level, this is a great opportunity to do that. I am taking the seltzer water challenge today. The challenge is I have to try to finish this seltzer water before the end of the day.
Yeah. Good luck. I believe in you.
I actually gave myself a little bit of extra time there.
Yeah, I thought it was by the end of the stream.
By the end of the stream, yeah. This one is lime, just straight up lime, unsweetened Spindrift.
It's a good one.
Let's go, yeah.
Not
Shout
sponsored.
out to Spindrift. Not our sponsor yet, but hopefully after they see this, there's probably somebody from Spindrift who's watching this.
Yeah.
And hopefully after they see this today, they are gonna, they're gonna support. We're gonna see them in here supporting. We're gonna have a new sponsor for the next tournament.
That would be cool. Then we could have drink the rest of the seltzer, or what am I even saying? Drink the sparkling water for every single challenge, every single stream.
Every stream. Oh, yeah, I would do that.
Stay hydrated.
I used to do that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my number one tip to the runners is stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. That's
Yes.
good. Good tip. Yeah, I think that's definitely very good advice there. All right, guys. Well, we are going to move on now in the tournament. But before we do, make sure that you hit the like button. We're up to 71. We're up stuck. We were up to 80. We're just down a little bit from our peak, but we're still up to 71 people watching here. And make sure you hit the like button. And of course, if you want to support the channel and support what we're doing here, if you enjoy this type of competition, or if you want to get some practice yourself, be sure to visit us over at tootalltoby.com. Tootalltoby.com has an app called the Practice Models app. There's over 100 2D to 3D challenges on there. Actually, we're closer to 200 now.
Wow.
They're categorized by tier level, so you can filter and you can pick the ones that are the most appropriate for your skill level. And of course, you can do these challenges using any 3D CAD system. And the cool thing about the Practice Models app is that you're able to get analytics based on how fast you finished compared to how fast the rest of the community finished. You're able to look at those analytics and you're able to filter those challenges based on challenge level and based on skills. And if you sign up for Practice Models Premium, you're even able to use the try again function. So after you do the challenge once, you can go back in, try again, try to improve your time. You can watch speed model videos, tutorial videos. There's all kinds of good functionality there in the Practice Models app. So check it out, sign up for free today. And if you want to support the channel and help keep the doors open and help keep the electricity on, and help keep us from flooding.
Yeah, keep the water out.
Keep the water out. A great way to do that is to sign up for a Practice Models Premium account, and it really does help us kind of keep these tournaments running. Too Tall Toby's Practice Models is one of the sponsors of the tournament here today.
Oh, yeah.
And we really appreciate their support. All right, guys. Well, let's get into it here. Congratulations to Ricardo. We're going to look forward to seeing him next week in the championship match. We're going to look forward to seeing Mehtab competing once again in the 3rd, 4th place match. And let's move on here to our next matchup here in the semifinals, which is going to be between, whoops, that should have been zoomed out a little bit, which is going to be between, hold on a second. We got to fix this. I cannot let this stand. Guys, I don't know if you've heard about the Ivan exploit, but there is an Ivan exploit video inbound here in just the next couple of weeks or months. We should see an update on when that video is coming out. So if you haven't heard about the Ivan exploit video yet, just be on the lookout. It's definitely possibly coming sometime, possibly in the future. So be on the lookout for that. And with that, we are going to take a look at our now semi-final matchup here between Dom and Ase. So we got Dom here. He had a competition against Gray, and he was able to defeat Gray, move into the semifinals. And we have Ate, who last week went up against Scott Makes a Thing. Now it's going to be Dom and Ate. Both these guys are heavy in the world of manufacturing, and we've not yet seen the sheet metal model.
Ooh, it might come up.
It might come up in this matchup. So let's get into it here. We're going to start out with a quick practice round. And the reason that we do this practice round is just to make sure that our runners have all their ducks in a row. And really, it's really more for us than the runners. We just want to make sure that we have everything technically in place. But it does give our runners a chance to kind of eliminate any of the butterflies or anything like that. And let's make sure that we've got the correct part on here. I think actually we're going to do this one.
Okay.
This one I think is a little bit more fun. So here we go. Guys, we're going to do a quick practice battle between these two runners, and that practice battle is going to begin in 3, 2, 1, go! What is the mass of this part in 0.xx pounds? So both our runners are grabbing a screen capture, and both of our runners are attempting to model this up. We see that we've got Dom on the left here, modeling this up as a circle, and then choosing to extrude it. We see that we've got Atse on the right here, and it looks like what Atse is doing is modeling this thing up as a circle and extruding it. Wow. Very clever. Very interesting approach here from both of our runners. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right.
This is intense already.
Yeah. Very close.
Very close.
Very close there from both of them.
Yeah.
So Ate coming in 0.69 pounds, and that is correct. And Dom coming in 0.69 pounds. And so we would say, congratulations, Ate, and we would give him the win. But this is just practice. Yay. But this is just practice. So let's now find out what their actual challenge is going to be. And there's really only one way that we can find that out, and that is with our friend, the Wheel of Fate.
I'm locking in 17 again.
17. We like that one.
Yeah. I call it my lucky number, but it hasn't hit yet, so I don't think it is. But it's the number I'm committed to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good. I like that. I think that's a great strategy.
Yeah.
And I think that we're going to see here, let's see, what will this number be? We see Ate guessing 15, Rockcrawler 13, Jim Yu 15, Vicky Chong 11, Rambros 13 and 17. He's double dipping. We like it. All right, let's let this thing rip here. Dom thinks it's going to be 13.
Fingers crossed.
Okay. Wiki thinks it's going to be 11. We like it. We like it.
I'd say gets his wish true. It's going to be 15.
Okay. Good.
Is this the infamous sheet metal is the question.
That's the question. Did the wheel deliver them the beautiful sheet metal model that they both deserve? Well, there's only one way to find out here. So let's get this next challenge up and running. And while I'm getting this up and running, Connor, maybe you could tell us just a little bit more about our competitors.
Of course. So on the left, you have Dom from America or the United States, and he's using SolidWorks, and he started using SolidWorks in 2019. And then we have Atse, which that is Macedonia, right?
Yep.
And he did the Toby CSWP prep and passed on the first try, so that's pretty impressive.
Nice.
Former Army dude, thank you. And then this is his second Toby tournament. So we are glad to see you here again. And he is using SolidWorks as well, so this is going to be a SolidWorks versus SolidWorks match.
Oh man, this is going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we had a lot of excitement there in the first round, in the first match between Mehtab and Ricardo Jean. And now we get to move on to Dom and I'd say they've both been in tournaments before.
Oh, yeah.
This is, I think, is going to be a really exciting one and possibly a sheet metal manufactured part. I don't know. No spoilers. But here we go, guys. This next CAD vs. CAD battle in our semifinals of the 2025 Spring Open Tournament between Dom from the United States using SolidWorks and Atse from Macedonia using SolidWorks begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XX.XX grams? Tolerance is plus or minus 0.02 grams. This part is a toy ball for structure, for kids to build up a structure. Both of our runners have already grabbed a screen capture, so let's jump in and take a look at the action. Now, upon first glance, this part looks like it's going to be pretty simple to model. I don't think that they're necessarily going to get stuck in the methodology of how to model this. I think what's going to be interesting is the actual tactic, because when you've got a ball with a bunch of holes in it, and those holes aren't going to, you know, they're defined as going to a certain depth, patterning becomes a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty cool model here. You can see that it's got these holes. They're basically patterned, you know, in a circle along the 3 axes without having the that extra hole there at that one quadrant point. You can see it really clearly in the isometric view. So as expected, we see Dom started on the left there with a dome, with a sphere. So you draw what looks like the letter D and then you revolve it. That gives you a sphere. We see on the right, though, that Atse has decided to draw half of the model. So this is going to be interesting. This is what I was really interested in seeing here. And we see that Dom has decided to do that cut extrude to kind of get that hole in place. And now he's jumping into a chamfer command here, using the chamfer command. So we'll see how that works out for him. Okay, and so Dom has gotten in here now. Looks like he is creating, maybe he abandoned that. He started doing that chamfer, he abandoned it. We see Atse on the left here. Looks like he's creating the circle for that hole, and now he's going to create that using the offset option in the cut extrude command. So he's going to offset it from the center using the offset distance that's shown in the section view of that drawing. So that's I think that's a solid approach. That, you know, definitely approved. And then we see Dom did get in there and do this with a chamfer. So now he's got the hole with the chamfer on there. We see Atse going in and doing the same thing here. And so it's going to be now a matter of who's able to pattern this thing successfully. So Dom starting out with his first pattern and boom, running into an error. Oh no. So Dom's going to have to look at that pattern and see why he's getting that error. And we see Atse. I love the fact that these two runners, who both have a lot of experience in the real world, are getting this model. So it looks like Dom was able to resolve that error with his pattern.
Very nice.
We see Atse now on the right doing his first pattern. This is going to be a matter of creating patterns of this model. So we see that Dom is now attempting to pattern it in the second instance of the pattern. Okay, looks like he was able to get that. Now, what's he going to do with this third instance? That's going to be the question.
Yeah.
So starting out by creating an axis here so that he's got something to pattern around. Looks like Atse has got a pretty good lock on this thing. I think these answers are going to be coming in really, really quickly here. So we see Dom getting in there, trying to pattern this in the next direction, almost like a pattern of a pattern, running into another error. This is very similar to what I ran into when I was doing this thing as an audit. And it looks like Atse is running into or creating some type of additional reference geometry here. Okay, creating an axis there. Interesting.
This is going to be close.
Yep, this is going to get very close here. So Dom running into an issue. This is one of these spots where I, as the commentator, have to kind of sit back and not give away too much.
Yeah.
Because I know that they can hear me, and I know that sometimes if I talk about what the other person's doing, I don't feel like I'm giving away too much. But I don't ever want to say what they're doing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna kind of just hang back and see how these guys solve this. Everybody who's watching can see what this thing is supposed to look like. You can see it very clearly in the isometric view. So now it's going to be up to these runners to figure out how to get that geometry in place, and we're going to keep an eye on the chat.
Looks like Atse is coming in with a mass.
Okay, and Atse coming in with a mass, and his answer there is 63.45 grams, and that is not correct. That is not correct within tolerance.
Ooh.
So Atse coming in with an answer 63.45. That is not correct. Not correct within tolerance. So now we've got a real race on our hands.
Yeah. What a strange looking part.
Yep, a very strange looking part here. And Dom coming in with an answer 63.4445 grams. Either way, it's the same answer. 63.45 grams, and that is not correct.
Ooh, double.
That is not correct. So interesting. Always interesting when both of the runners come in with an answer, and that answer is the same answer, but not correct.
Yeah.
Now, what this means is whoever answers next is going to be ineligible to earn the point from this match. So whoever answers next is really putting it on the line. So both of our runners are now kind of taking a minute, taking a breath. I'm sure that they are looking back at all their dimensions, looking at the drawing, trying to figure out what's going on here. How did we get this wrong? Yeah. Very interesting that both of them got it wrong. And certainly in the past, if this occurred, I would be saying to myself, did I do something wrong? Did I make the drawing wrong? Mm-hmm. But this time I'm pretty confident. I think I know what's going on here.
I see.
Aaron C in the chat says, I know how Dom feels right now. Mehtab says, heart's beating. Yeah. This is a good one. This is a really good model, and I'm so glad that these guys got it, because this is where it's going to be really interesting to see how these guys work through this challenge. This is what it's all about, is running into these types of errors, these types of challenges, this type of complicated geometry, and being able to figure out how to get around it, how to resolve it, how to figure out what you did wrong and how to fix those errors. And I know that both of these guys have a lot of experience in that space of actually making parts, actually making models, and this is going to be really interesting to watch here.
Yeah.
So we see it looks like Dom on the left is kind of re-examining the geometry there in that hole, trying to figure out if maybe there was something off with it. It looks like he did a little back engineering there. Yeah. Pretty interesting approach there to try to figure out if that was in fact the problem. So a little bit of back engineering. Rambro's Workshop, yep. Ricardo Jean in the chat. I like this conversation in the chat.
It's always neat when you see like they both get it wrong, and then they're both like it's like they both double check, and then they both are also thinking about the other person double checking.
Yes.
Like even more so than before they get the answers wrong. So it's always neat seeing that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And guys, speaking of double checking and answering again, both of our runners have come in with their revised answer. They came in one after the other.
Yeah.
Atse coming in with his answer, 63.36 grams. Dom coming in with his answer, 63.40 grams. Guys, the correct answer is 63.36 grams, and Atse is going to win that point. And wow, what a battle. Congratulations to Atse. 63.36 grams is correct. And very foretelling there from, well, first of all, congratulations. That was an absolutely epic battle from both of them.
Yeah.
And a little bit of foreshadowing there from none other than Aaron C. in the chat. Aaron C. in the chat said, Toby, I really hope you make it so that this drawing cannot be solved with a chamfer. And that was, in fact, the trick. The chamfer is very misleading. You know, the chamfer is defined here as kind of a 45 degree off of the inner wall and as a 0.927 here from the top. But the problem is that top wall kind of goes away. It's round to begin with. And when you do a chamfer, the chamfer is going to be calculating based on that spherical wall as well. So you really have to do it as a cut revolve to get that in there and to get that correct. And I think that's what we saw Atse do when he went back to correct it. But definitely a tricky part, definitely an interesting part. And I think it's kind of interesting how it almost looks like it's got flat spots when you're looking at it in that front view. It almost looks like it has flat spots from those holes that are running through it. And of course, right here in Too Tall Toby's studio, we actually have a physical copy of this part here. So we do a physical copy of this part. It's kind of a cool part. I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun how at first Atse was trying to model in this additional hole that's not actually there.
Yeah.
Like in one of his patterns, I saw him going in there and trying to get that additional hole that's not really there. There's not a hole in that extra axis there. But very cool part, very fun part, very interesting part. And I really enjoyed watching how Dom went through and like measured what his calculated angle was, and then he revised his answer and dropped it from 0.45 down to 0.40.
Yeah.
0.38 would have been within tolerance. But you know, Atse got there with the clean win anyway. So really nice battle, guys. GG to our winner. GG to both of the runners. And that puts 1 point on the board for Atse. But of course, you've got to win 2 points if you want to advance in this tournament. Yeah. So let's move on to our next challenge here. And this next challenge is going to come from the Wheel of Fate. And I'm feeling a little spicy here, so I think I'm going to shuffle this thing up a little bit. Shuffle, 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 shuffle this thing up. We only have 3 possible answers, so I'm going to get a sip of my delicious Spindrift.
Oh, yeah.
If you're ever out there and thirsty, you got to try Spindrift.
Yeah. All right, put your answers in the chat for what you think this is going to be. I'm going to lock in with 17 again. Once again, it is not my lucky number. However, I think that the chances are here with me this time. I can feel it. I can feel the 17.
Good, good. I like it. I like it. So Scott makes a thing, says, gonna go home after work and make that wiffle ball in Rhino. Ooh. Nice, nice. Yeah, just to be clear, Scott, it's actually not a wiffle ball. And the only reason I bring this up is because I've been hit in the head with these things from my roommates. And I wish it was a wiffle ball. This is like a solid chunk of ABS right here. Yeah. And it is, well, it weighs about 63.36 pounds, 63.36 grams. So it is not light. When you get hit in the head with that, you definitely feel it.
Especially when it's attached to like the other thing that have it.
The pole. Yeah. The pole
One of the roommates here is really mean with it, and he just really likes hitting people with them.
He's pretty crazy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Julian coming in with 17, Rambros 13, Jim Yu 17, Vicky Chong 13, Dom Linder 13, Rockcrawler 13. Let's see here. Staying with 11. Scott makes a thing staying with 11. I like it. Eric Potter 17, PC Arduino 11. What's up, my friend? How you doing? Great to see you in here. All right, guys, let's give this thing a spin and see what happens. Shout out to Solidbox, our sponsor of the Wheel of Fate today. And guys, we are going to go on to challenge number 17. Oh, yeah. 17. Okay, and that is a good one. So let's remove this one from the wheel. And Connor, maybe we could learn a little bit more about our runners here as we are getting things started.
Of course. So back to Dom from the United States using SolidWorks. He has spent his entire adult career in manufacturing. And I think that's impressive as well, like especially for this tournament. And like with a part that we just had where it was a real world part. I mean, it's weird. Things when they're like realistic and you actually have to make things get weird. So that's cool.
You learn a lot of tricks.
Yeah. And then for Atse, on the other hand, from Macedonia, using SolidWorks as well, wanted to let us know that Combat Assault Dog and computer-aided design are not the same type of CAD. And I think that is a very important thing to note. CAD will not chase you down. So if someone is chasing you with CAD, that might not be your friend.
Just might be something different, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to agree with that statement.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, with that, we are ready to move on to this next match in our semifinals. And Atse has 1 point. So if Dom does not win this match, then that is going to be it. We are going to have our finalists. But never count Dom out. He is super, super speedy. So here we go. This next battle between Dom from the United States using SolidWorks and Atse from Macedonia using SolidWorks begins in 3, 2, 1, go! What is the mass of this part in XXX.X grams? And we got ourselves a sheet metal bracket for our 2 sheet metal experts. Number 17 is our sheet metal part. And here we go. Let's see how these sheet metal wizards work through this challenge. This is a corner bracket here, and I am very excited to see what these guys do with this. So both of our runners examining the part, trying to figure out what's going to be the best way to get this thing started. And looks like both of our runners, let's see here, starting very similarly, using that 146 going up to that height, coming across with that horizontal dimension. Interestingly, Dom looks like he is going into a little bit more detail on what is ultimately going to be that relief. So the face that we're looking at here is kind of the face that's on the lower left of the isometric view. So they're drawing that thing. The max height of this part is 170, just to help it, keep everybody in orientation as to what these guys are doing here. You can see that Dom on the left just went through and added in that little half round for the bend relief. That's on that view there. That's on the lower left. So you can see him adding in that kind of half round. And let's move this thing over a little bit. Wow, this is a good part for these guys to be battling out on. Yeah.
I don't know if you
and Elena in the chat says, I'm just here cheerleading for Atse. Nice. Great to see you in here, Elena.
I don't know if you do this on purpose, but it seems like a lot of the times you have 2 runners where one of them likes to do a lot of sketching first or extrude first. And I say that, and then they both did the extrude. But it looked like Atse was going to be extruding first. But I take my statement back.
Well, it's definitely something that, is ultimate. It happens a lot. You're right. It definitely happens a lot. I can't take credit for it. If anybody could take credit for it, it would be the Wheel of Fate.
That's it.
But yeah, I mean, the runners all have their own techniques, and it's very interesting when we do see 2 runners, one who maybe prefers to sketch more, do more layout work, and one who prefers to do kind of one feature at a time. The thing is, sheet metal is kind of its own animal, and there's certainly some scenarios you can run into when you're working in sheet metal that you're not going to run into in other areas of the software. Yeah. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how our runners handle those scenarios and what ends up happening. This is cool stuff. I like this. I like that they're both very comfortable getting in there, modeling with sheet metal. We can see that Dom is getting in there using the edit flange command in SolidWorks sheet metal and creating this flange so that it doesn't run the entire length of that model, because it's a shorter flange. It doesn't actually run that entire length. We also see Atse over on the right there going through and modeling up that part and examining his corner relief options and adjusting his corner relief options to make sure he didn't have that little notch in there. That's something that you really have to do a lot of sheet metal to not only know how to change the setting, but even just to recognize that would have been an issue. And Atse really demonstrated some mastery there, getting in and adjusting that. Here we can see that he's using the window select to fillet the corners, Atse on the right. And that's something else that has become very popular since, seeing different runners using their CAD and doing speed modeling here on Too Tall Toby. We've seen a lot more runners pick up on that technique and realize that can be a lot faster than having to perfectly click the exact corner of the model. It's always interesting when you have a cut like this that, you would probably punch that cut in the flat. But we've got it, the dimensions are defined here in the formed view. And so you can see here that Dom is creating that by creating the cut off of one face and then creating the cut off the other face. And that's, I think, exactly the right way to do it. We saw Atse do that a little bit earlier. We saw Dom do this here now. And wow, they are both coming down the home stretch here on this final feature. And we're going to find out here. We're going to be really closely watching for this answer and watching the chat. I'm trying to watch the CAD, but I'm also trying to watch the chat so I don't miss the answer. But both of our runners are really bringing this thing home. They both look to be ready to do the final spin, maybe come up with that final answer. Dom going around adding some extra fillets. Atse coming in with an answer. 6, 5.2.4 grams. And Connor, that is correct. And wow, what a battle. Dom right behind him, 654.8 grams. And wow, so close. Both of our runners getting in there and having that battle, and they were so close the whole time. But it's gonna be Atse who's gonna win both points there and is gonna move on in this tournament. And I gotta say, those were some epic battles today. And that last one was so close, man. Yeah. I could not predict who was gonna win that last one. I just figured it could be anybody's game. They were both so close finishing out that battle.
Yeah.
But wow, guys, GG to our runners. That was absolutely awesome to watch. And we got to say thank you so much to all of the runners today, to everybody who contributed their time to be a part of this tournament. And wow, just awesome. Could not ask for anything more. Some really epic battles there. That is crazy. Dom Linder is no slouch. The fact that Atse bested him and after only just joining this channel like a year ago is insane. Yeah, that was so awesome. Guys, awesome job. Real pleasure watching everybody's battles today. And we're going to see all 4 of our semifinalists back next week for our championship day. We're going to see the championship match between Ricardo, Gene, and Atse.
Yeah.
Wow. Italy versus Macedonia. And that is going to be a really fun showdown there for our finals. But we're also going to see our 3rd, 4th place battle between Mehtab and Dom. And that's just going to be kind of a sudden death almost, just one single battle for that 3rd and 4th place result. So it's going to be a lot of fun next week. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to share and reshare. Sign up for an account over at tootalltoby.com. The support really goes a long way. And if you like these kinds of CAD challenges, you can have a buffet. You can just like go nuts there at tootalltoby.com. We've got over 170 or 180 challenges on there for everyone to try. And of course, it's a great way to support the channel as well.
Yeah.
Don't forget to let everybody know also about next week. Next week is the finals, and it's going to be a really exciting final matchup, finals. Just make sure that you share, take a screen capture, go back and watch the video and take a screen capture, and then like send that out to your contact list, drop it into your group chat, and let everybody know what's going on next week, because that's going to be a really fun battle next week. And thank you, Connor.
You're welcome.
It's been an absolute pleasure. You want to come back next week for the finals?
I would love to, yeah. I'm super excited. We're going to see Atse and Ricardo, and watching them both today was crazy. Watching Atse last week was crazy.
Yeah.
Atse, I don't know, I have really been paying attention to him the past couple of weeks, and he is just crazy with what he does.
Yeah.
And, I'm super excited. I would love to be on here next week.
Awesome. Guys, put a 1 in the chat if you're excited about having Connor back next week. We are excited to have him. Come back, Connor. You bring me lucky. Yes. Thank you, Ricardo. And guys, we are so excited to be coming back next week. Thank you all so much. Thank you to all the runners. Of course, thank you to all of you in the chat. We couldn't do any of this without all of you as well. And if you want to join us, and if you want to compete in this amazing CAD versus CAD activity, join us on Monday for Model Monday Live. We've been having a lot of fun in Model Monday Live. We got a new format for these live competitions against the chat. So if you want to prove your stuff, that is where you can go every Monday. Model Monday Live this Monday, May 19th. And guys, next Friday, the tournament concludes. Man, it feels like it just started.
Yeah.
Now we're already gonna end it, but we got a couple more tournaments coming up later this year. And so I'm looking forward to seeing everybody next Friday. Connor, any final advice for everyone before we break for the weekend?
Stay safe, stay dry, and stay hydrated.
Nice.
Those are my big 3.
Stay safe, stay dry, stay hydrated. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Oh, and look out for the merch drop.
And be on the lookout for the merch drop. It will come possibly someday soon. Yeah, of course. All right, guys. Oh, Rockcrawler coming in at the end with a super chat. Thank you so much, Rockcrawler. Very much appreciated. That is awesome. And really appreciate all of you out there in the chat. Thanks for all the super chats. Thanks to everybody who's joined up on the channel. It really goes a long way. And Victor K in the chat asking the ultimate question going into the weekend. What will happen first? The Ivan exploit video or the merch drop? Well, you guys are all just going to have to stay tuned to find out. Yeah. And thank you all so much. It's been an awesome time hanging out with everybody today. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll look forward to seeing everybody on Model Monday Live, and then we will see you next week for the finals.
Oh, yeah.
See you, everybody.
Bye.